Hello, everyone. My name is Janik Goriev, and I'm the Senior Health Education and Engagement Specialist for Brain Tumor Foundation of Canada. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our mission is to reach every Canadian affected by a brain tumor through the 4 pillars of our organization, which is information, support, education, and research. And this webinar series is just but one educational and information program that we offer to those affected by a brain tumor. So please make sure you check out our website, braintumor.ca. Make sure you sign up for our newsletters and our updates, and also follow us on social media because we always promote our programs and our events there as well, and our resources as well for not only patients and survivors and caregivers, but also for healthcare professionals and volunteers. So Barb and Stephanie, I'll have you do a quick hello. I'll get you to turn your videos on for a second. Wave to the audience. Awesome, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Barb and Stephanie. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedules to be here with us. As I mentioned before we went live, we've been talking about this webinar, I think, since last November. So it's hard to believe it's already here. So thank you once again for joining us. And I'll get started with introducing Barb, who's joining us from Hamilton. Stephanie, you can turn your video off if you'd like, and then we'll come back to you after Barb's presentation, okay? Thank you. So let's get started. Barb is the manager of the School and Work Transitions Program for POGO, which stands for Pediatric Oncology Group of Ontario. Barb has been working as a POGO transitions counselor for over a dozen years and managing the transitions program for 4 of those years. She holds a BSc in Neuropsychology and a graduate certificate in addictions counseling. Barb also has a background working with the adult special needs population. I'm getting used to my progressives. She works with a team of counselors within Ontario to support survivors age 16 and older with successful school and work transitions, goal planning, and community building. The title of Barb's presentation is Navigating the Twists and Turns of the Survivorship Journey, School and Work Considerations for Youth and Young Adults. Barb's presentation will address topics such as the later years of high school for brain tumor survivors, achieving post-secondary success, job seeking, and the workplace. And thank you so much, Barb, for joining us today. I'll get you to unmute yourself there. We've been partnering with POGO on a variety of events and programs over the years, so it's nice to see this partnership continue, as collaboration is one of our core values. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome. So I think I need to give you the option to share your screen. Let me do that. I'll make you a co-host.
Great.
And then you should be able to click on that green button.
Okay. There, we won't start at questions. We'll go from the beginning here.
Sounds good. I'm going to take my video off, Barb, and unmute myself, but I'm right here if you need me, okay?
Okay, thanks. Thanks so
again.
much, Janik. Okay, great. Thanks for that great introduction. As Janik said, my presentation today is Navigating the Twists and Turns of Survivorship, School and Work Considerations for Youth and Young Adults. I'm thrilled to be doing this presentation with Stephanie Doucette, who will be sharing her personal story of hope, which is absolutely wonderful and lovely. And I'm looking forward to that as much as everybody else, I hope. I just want to give you a little information about POGO. So POGO is the Pediatric Oncology Group of Ontario, and it works to ensure that everyone affected by childhood cancer has access to the best care and support. We partner to achieve an excellent childhood cancer care system for children, youth, their families, survivors, and healthcare teams in Ontario and beyond. POGO champions childhood cancer care, and as the collective voice of this community is the official advisor to Ontario's Ministry of Health on children's cancer control and treatment. POGO is a nonprofit organization with charitable status, here for kids with cancer, for now and for life. The POGO mission is we partner to achieve the best childhood cancer care system for children, youth, their families, and survivors in Ontario and beyond. And the POGO vision is a valued partner, an excellent childhood cancer care system. So I want to tell you a little bit about the POGO School and Work Transitions Program, which is the program I manage and work in as a counselor. It was established by POGO in 2002. Our target population is youth and young adult survivors age 16 and over of childhood leukemia or brain tumors and other cancers experiencing cognitive deficits and/or late effects. With this population of survivors, we provide assistance in determining school and work goals by matching neuropsychologic profiles with academic or school and volunteer or employment goals. Once we complete our goal planning with the student or survivor or client, once that is complete, we support the transition from high school to apprenticeship, college, or university, and/or provide workplace preparation services and overall advocacy within the school or workplace setting. So for today's presentation, once again, welcome everybody. We will address and discuss options and strategies for childhood cancer and brain tumor survivors related to the later years of high school, transitioning into post-secondary and achieving post-secondary success, and the job piece. And oops, sorry, I can't even see my writing because there's a bar on the bottom that's blocking number 2, but I know it's around jobs and the workplace and employment. So I just want to preface all of this by saying these are 2 huge topics. I'm merely going to be scratching the surface here and trying to highlight some key pieces around both of these areas that we're going to be exploring. I can't get into everything about them. Those would be 2 giant presentations on their own. But I just want to give you an idea of some of the considerations to think about as childhood cancer, brain tumor survivors, or even if you're in treatment still, just things to think about in these areas. We'll start with post-secondary as a goal. So I've broken it into post-secondary school as a pursuit and job or workplace as a pursuit, just for ease of keeping everything more straightforward. So as we work with individuals who are 16 years and older, the natural place for me to start on this presentation is in high school and preparations to graduate. So there's just some key pieces I wanted everyone to think about when planning for high school graduation. So of course, when you're in high school, you want to start thinking about identifying your interests. There are different vocational assessment tools. There's some free ones online. There are ones called like career cruising that some schools have access to and allow access to their students. So basically it's a survey, you answer questions, and based upon your responses, it kind of spits out a profile of where you may be interested in exploring programs or further work options in those types of workplaces or careers. You always want to be thinking in high school, especially, getting into grade 10, 11, prerequisite.
Barb,
yep.
I can't hear you all of a sudden.
Oh.
It's weird because it says that you're unmuted.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, am I back? Oh, that's weird.
Apparently it was just me. Everybody else can hear you. I think it's my internet connection. My apologies for interrupting.
No worries. No, that's good. I'll take a breath. Good. So the prerequisite courses, again, you're thinking twofold. So, you're looking at what stream you're in, whether you're in the academic or applied stream or workplace stream at school, high school, and where that's taking you post-secondary. And then within those streams, selecting the appropriate courses that are going to set you up to meet the application criteria for a particular program you want to get into. So if you want to go into nursing, for example, you're going to want to look at having your biologies, your sciences, and just looking at the admission criteria for any specific program you're interested in. You want to ensure that if you do have an individual education plan, short form IEP, that the accommodations are in place in your school, and that if necessary, you're taking advantage of them. If you need extra time for tests and exams, if you need a quiet place to write, if you need large print, anything that is in your IEP that's going to help you be the most successful student you can be, make sure that's being used. And if it's not, if you need some advocacy work around getting those IEP pieces in place, that's something we do as transitions counselors if you're involved with our program. Work with a school guidance counselor, be ready for your final post-secondary program choices by first semester in grade 12, because as we know, the deadlines for college and university happen in January and February of the following year, or that semester too. And don't underestimate the power of a gap year. If you're simply not ready for post-secondary, or you're unsure what you want to pursue, gap years are very common now. Not to mention if you've had a diagnosis, or you've just finished treatment, or you've missed parts of school, and you're feeling like you're still catching up on academics or life. A gap year is a great opportunity to get some work experience, to sit back, to reconsider, to think about your goals and plans. I want to talk a little bit about pathways to post-secondary, mainly with this group, because in a lot of cases there have been interruptions to education, or what we might think of as the traditional path of going through elementary school to high school, applying right from high school to post-secondary, and Bob's your uncle and off you go. And it's this, supposedly seamless, just years and years and years of school, back to back, and it's that way or the highway kind of thing. I want to introduce this group to different options that you may or may not be aware of. If you feel like you've missed the boat, or you're too far behind, or now I'm an adult and I can't picture myself in the secondary system. We hear that a lot, and I want to let you know there are different options, and here are some of them. And again, I'm just scratching the surface. You can certainly contact us for more information. So apprenticeship is an option for students. And the reason I raise this is because apprenticeship is very skills-based, hands-on, in the trades. It can range from anything from construction to hairdressing. There's quite an array of opportunities there. And many of our learners are really hands-on, practical thinkers and learners and doers, and apprenticeship can be a really great fit if the physicality is there for the apprenticeship you select. The beauty is you can earn apprenticeship hours in high school, and this is Ontario specific here, the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, and you look in your own province what's available for you through your high school, or specialist high skills majors, so you can earn credits through taking courses as a high skills major, or being in the youth apprenticeship program and earning those hours towards apprenticeship. You can also pursue a pre-apprenticeship college program right from high school, or you can find an employer. And you can start looking for an employer for an apprentice in grade 11 if you want to. If you find someone who will take you on as an apprentice, then what you do is you register with the Ministry of Labour Training and Skills Development as an apprentice with your employer, and you begin the journey right then and there. Apprenticeship, as you'll see in this bullet, is approximately 85% on-the-job training and 15% apprenticeship courses. So that you're in school, just sort of the textbook support around the apprenticeship position. So there's a couple of pathways to apprenticeship is what I want to highlight here. You can go right through the school through pre-apprenticeship, or you can find an employer when you're old enough, and that's over 16 and grade 11, grade 12 or beyond, and register with the ministry. Another pathway is adult education. So this is for adults 19 years of age and older who are not currently attending a college or university. So the options through adult education is you can continue to complete your high school diploma, so taking course by course, but in an adult setting. So you're not sitting in it is a classroom, but it's not a high school classroom. So you're sitting with other adult learners. And it wouldn't be like a day long of school or that type of thing. The delivery is a little bit different. You might go at night. There's various options around how you access those courses and credits. So you can complete your diploma. You can earn specific high school credits to meet application criteria for a post-secondary program that you're interested in. So again, using a nursing example, if you went through high school and didn't get the biology you need to apply for a nursing program, you can go back and earn that specific credit or any number of credits you need for entry into that program. So that would work for really any program, keeping in mind that depending on what you went through high school for, what stream, if you were in applied in high school, it's still accessing academic courses as an adult can still be problematic depending on what you've done in your high school career. But again, I'm just scratching the surface here. I'm just letting you know that adult education is available and you can obtain credits. And you can upgrade as well. So upgrading, if you are kind of a C student coming out of high school and you're looking at a program at, let's say, university, where the cutoff application percentage is 75%, or maybe you just need to have a 75% average in English alone. And not an overall 75% average. Whatever it is, you can go back to adult education and take a course or any number of courses, whether you have to try and raise your average overall or get a specific average for a specific credit in order to then meet the application requirements for a program you want to go to. Another option is general education development, so a GED. Many of you have probably heard this term. Again, it's an option if you don't have enough credits for a high school diploma, and maybe now you're 19 and you're 10 credits behind for getting your high school diploma. And the thought of, going and taking each of those credits individually to get your high school diploma just sounds overwhelming and not fun, and you're just past that and it's not something you want to do. This is a high school equivalency and it's recognized by colleges and apprenticeships globally. So make note that it's colleges and apprenticeships. GEDs do not apply to universities. You will not meet university requirements with a GED, but college and apprenticeships, yes. What you can do is take a preparation course. And again, a lot of these happen at adult learning centers, as a matter of fact. You can get ready to take your 5 tests over a 2-day period. And the subjects are reading, writing, grade 10 math. Please note grade 10 math, that's the equivalency you will get, is grade 10 math. Keep that in mind if what you're aiming for requires more than a grade 10 math. Social studies and science. Another option is academic and career entrance, otherwise known as ACE, and it has a couple of other names at different institutions. So this is a tuition-free program for students who don't have to have grade 12, but are, again, age 19 or over. And this is Ontario specific again, but please check your province for what an equivalent to this might be. You do complete a pre-admission assessment, and this is so that it can be determined where you're placed in terms of what you need to upgrade and where you need to get in order to be ready to meet the admission requirements for a college program or to obtain workplace skills for somewhere you're looking for employment, for example. It is recognized by all colleges in Ontario and is tailored to meet individual educational needs. And it's recognized by all colleges in Ontario because it's delivered at colleges in Ontario as well. So many colleges will have an ACE program. You just need to check it out, and they generally have intake 3 times a year, so September, January, May. Occasionally there will be rolling intake, so you don't even have to wait that long to get into a program, but it's another option to get yourself ready for college entrance without going back and getting a diploma or a GED. Speaking to individuals who may have graduated high school with a certificate rather than a diploma, it's really important that you know that there are college programs for you, which is really exciting. It gives that opportunity to have the college experience, to hone workplace skills, and in some cases just to give you an opportunity to see where you're going next, or what your career path is, or what the options are out there for you. So an example, I have a few examples here of these kinds of programs. So one is called Community Integration Through Cooperative Education, CICE for short. This can be found at various colleges. Again, I'm speaking about throughout Ontario. It's not at every college. Several have it. A lot more are getting on board. It's popular. It's needed. Many of these programs are targeting individuals with a developmental disability who really need support built into the college experience and the college program. It's cooperative education because there is obviously a co-op component, and these programs are generally 2 years long with the intent of preparing individuals for the workplace. However, that doesn't rule out going on into further studies in a mainstream college program, depending on what your goals are and your level of success at CICE. College Vocational is specific to George Brown College in Toronto. It's the same idea, except it's a 1-year program, and the parameters are a little different. It's sort of a standalone program, whereas CICE allows students to sit in mainstream college programs and opt into courses in those programs. Another one is Career Pathways, which is at Mohawk College. This is a program designed specifically for individuals with autism or with significant mental health considerations. And it's an opportunity to, again, have a year at college and explore where you may go, and with supports built in for those students. So for students who are thinking about going to post-secondary school or are already in post-secondary school, I hope those who are already, where necessary, taking advantage of accessibility services and the accommodations that come with registering with accessibility services. This is so key to many of the individuals we work with as a transition service for pediatric cancer and brain tumor survivors. There are commonly cognitive considerations to think about when completing academics. And so we like to encourage most of our clients to register with accessibility services. These are at all colleges and universities through Ontario and no doubt across Canada. The key piece is that we can encourage students as much as we want to register, but it really is the student needs to self-identify to the office and go through the registration process. They do not come looking for you. You need to let them know that you need accommodation, and there are steps to receiving that accommodation. We like to let people know that typically a student needs documentation that is no more than 3 years old, and it would be a documentation of a disability or medical condition. I have another slide after this that talks specifically about neuropsychological assessments. which would be one of the key documentation pieces necessary for individuals who have, again, cognitive considerations. And the college and universities will make decisions about accommodations based on the recommendations in these assessments or recommendations within a medical document. So that's why these are so key, and it's really important that that is discussed with you. It should be coming from the medical side to let you know that these documents are necessary and needed, and encourage you to get a neuropsychological assessment, hopefully within the hospital system where it's covered. But if you don't have one and you think you need one, or you need an updated one, please get in touch with your transitions counselor if you're working with any of us, or contact us for more information. So accommodations and post-secondary include things like a reduced course load, note takers, extra time on tests and exams, quiet room, scheduling to get from place to place, assistive technology, preferred seating, alternate format, exceptions to classroom attendance, if you're attending medical appointments, for example. So all great stuff to have, and things that can take some of that stress and pressure off of all the things you need to do and process when you're particularly in a new setting at college or university. I promised you a slide on neuropsychological assessments, and here it is. And a neuropsychological assessment explores how your brain functions through evaluations of your attention, memory, and other thinking skills. It provides critical information about how someone learns. As I mentioned, it's a key document relied upon by post-secondary institutions, and it provides accommodation recommendations. And this is a really important point. Recommendations and accommodations are tailored to help you succeed in your school or workplace and gain access to equal opportunity and fairness. So it's so important. I should have highlighted this or put it in bold. Gain access to equal opportunity and fairness. Definitely in working with the students we work with, sometimes there can be reluctance to, for example, even get a neuropsychological assessment for fear of, being labeled. And in some cases, individuals do have a neurological assessment and have recommendations, but don't want to register with an accessibility office, for example, because they're afraid that they're getting treated with favoritism, or they're taking advantage, or they're getting a leg up, or it's unfair to all the other students. We hear this a lot, and that's why I just want to highlight it. The accommodations simply allow students to gain access to equal opportunity and fairness. If you're working from a place where there's a deficit in how you learn, in terms of how you process information, for example, or retain information, or your memory, this is just a way to level the playing field. So, we always try and stress to our students, you're not taking advantage, you're not cheating, you're not a jerk for using accommodations. They're there for a reason. So please consider using this option when you're going to school, or if you're already in school. This is just a really quick slide. I just wanted to highlight that many post-secondary institutions have transition programs. So these are designed to help individuals who are going to be registering with accessibility services. They let students know what to expect in college or university. I mentioned U of T first and the Moving Forward program because it's actually open to all students across Ontario, regardless of whether you're going to U of T or not. Any potential post-secondary student has access to Moving Forward. It's sort of a blanket program that talks about accommodations, what to expect when you go to college or university and those kinds of things. As you can see, McMaster University has MaxStart. A couple of colleges I have listed there just to, again, just examples to let you know that these programs exist. They offer valuable information on what to expect at college or university and what services are available and how to manage life and studies once you go to school. So they can really help ease some fears, give you information and advice. And I highly recommend that any student transitioning into post-secondary at any time, check out their institutions for what they may offer in terms of these transition programs. And this might be the last slide in this section, and it is to let you know about national scholarships and bursaries. We refer students to these consistently, and we have had students have great success with obtaining one or more of these awards. The Childhood Cancer Canada Award, they have a $1,500 general scholarship open to all young adult cancer survivors and brain tumor survivors across Canada. And then they have a TIVA scholarship, which is for students really in later years or graduate studies specific to mental health and pharmaceutical fields, medical health and pharmaceutical fields, and that's a $5,000 scholarship. Brain Tumor Foundation of Canada, you might recognize that name, has the Youth Education Awards. These are open to survivors of a pediatric brain tumor experienced by the age of 25. And it's key that financial need is demonstrated in your application. And this is up to $5,000 is the Youth Education Award. And the Emmy Duff Scholarship is one, again, open across Canada. And applicants will have demonstrated an ongoing volunteer commitment to causes that are important to you. So I'm always telling students this goes way beyond your 40 hours in Ontario that you need to get your OSSD. This is, you know, anywhere from 300 to 1,000 hours of consistent volunteer work and a place you could get references from. And again, as it says there, have undergone treatment or are currently being treated for cancer. And I believe Emmy Duff is about $2,000 at this point. It's a fairly new scholarship. It's maybe been around maybe for 5 or 6 years now. So the amount sort of has been increasing over time. I'm going to say about $2,000. Yeah, so that was the last slide for school piece. And if any questions have come in, I'm happy to try and address them at the end of the presentation. We'll move on now to employment and volunteerism, if this is your goal. Again, I'm going to start in high school just because we're talking about those transition years. So how does one build experience build work experience in high school? Some of this will be pretty evident, but it's worth a review. So there's volunteering, and volunteering, you know, takes many forms. There's kind of consistent volunteering where you're committing to a place or organization over some period of time, and maybe giving them an hour or two of your time on a weekly or bi-weekly basis or something like that. There's also one-time volunteer opportunities. So you may register to volunteer for an event. You know, the Inside Ride or any number of volunteer opportunities. They can happen anywhere. There's in many different industries, they're looking for volunteers. And I encourage you, in whatever your closest major town or center is, to just Google volunteering in Hamilton, volunteering in Ottawa, volunteering in wherever you are, wherever a major center would be. Just Google volunteering in, and you'll probably be taken directly to a volunteer website for that jurisdiction. And there's lots that you can look into. Cooperative education is key through high school. In grade 11, 12, you generally have the opportunity to gain credits towards your diploma or certificate in high school by working. So it's a great opportunity to discover what you may love, discover what you may hate, build some skills and experience in the workplace and good workplace habits. And who knows? I mean, you might even begin your networking in cooperative education. It's hard to say. So it's a really good option to take in high school if you can fit it into your schedule. We've talked about OYAP, and that's a program at high school geared towards apprenticeship. Getting a part-time job, of course, is an option if you're able. And then there's programs like summer jobs for youth. So government programs do generally exist where they look to work with organizations or businesses to create opportunities for students. So all those are things to think about. While we're talking about working, of course, we work with many individuals who receive ODSP income supports. And while it's a wonderful program to ensure some monthly income, we all know that income can fall quite short when we're looking at a living wage. It can be really difficult with ODSP income supports. So for anyone who doesn't know or is thinking about applying for ODSP, please know now that you can work at least part-time and keep some of those part-time earnings. So you can be receiving ODSP income supports and have a job and keep some of the money you make at that job. So your ODSP income is not affected. And in fact, you're making extra money per month to add to that ODSP income. And there's lots of perks and benefits that come with that. And you should be talking to your ODSP caseworker about what that looks like. ODSP income support recipients are also eligible for ODSP employment supports. A lot of people I know, myself and my colleagues speak with, are not aware of employment supports. It is a program under ODSP where the government works with organizations for those organizations to deliver employment services to individuals with a disability. I'm not going to gloss it over and say it's a perfect system, but it can be a starting point to connect with organizations that do support job finding and job retention for individuals with a disability. Again, something to speak with your caseworker about, or to general inquiry for ODSP employment supports. You can Google that and get the number of an office in your area. Individuals who don't qualify for ODSP income supports may still qualify for ODSP employment support. So if you don't get income support because maybe your assets are too high or there's some reason they don't deem you eligible, you may, if you have a disability, still qualify for employment support. So worth looking into if you are looking for a job. Looking for and finding work, just a few tips of where to look. Job search sites, there's Indeed, there are job banks, there's Charity Village. All of these are things that exist across the country. Every province should have free employment centers. Some of these are specific to youth employment services. Work training programs are programs that organizations offer from time to time that are, maybe 12 weeks of work training where you get paid for coming every day with a goal of setting you up in the workplace with successful completion of those 12 weeks. And we've discussed ODSP employment supports, and those organizations, all their services are free to the consumer. There's career services at your post-secondary institution. So if you are a current student or a recent alumni, reach out to career services. They are there. They have contacts in the community. Sometimes they've paired with businesses in their community to support their students finding work. Should be able to help with resumes and all those kinds of things, job prep. So use them. And finally, your network. Ask family, friends, contacts. I recently have been working with a young woman whose mother just got her an interview at her place of work, an interview she may not have been selected for, or may have, but I shouldn't say she may not have been, but the fact is her mother worked there and was able to say, can you set my daughter up for an interview? And that's how she got it. So, you know, network. It's sometimes, as they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. In preparing for employment, we want to think about determining your job goal, creating and updating a resume, developing skills, both soft and hard. So your soft skills would be more characteristic type things. And I've listed there creativity, collaboration, adaptation. And your hard skills would be things you can do, like sales, computer use, inventory. Employers look for both of these, and soft skills are sometimes underrated, but actually very important when we're looking at how you work independently or with a group. So really important to develop both. Your job search, we talked about some of the places that you could use to job search and how. Writing a cover letter specific to a job being applied for. So, you know, we can all have sort of a template of a cover letter, but we really want to work hard to tailor that cover letter to a specific job rather than just having a generic kind of, here's who I am, here's what I do. You want to match your skill set and your qualifications to a specific job that you're interested in applying for. And practice interview. So just knowing, thinking about what questions might come up, how you might respond to those questions, and thinking about questions you might ask of a potential employer. So working with somebody to kind of work through the nerves and practice through those interview skills and answering questions that are fairly common across anywhere you interview. And these are all things that we do in the transitions program for individuals who qualify for our services. We will help you with all of these. We don't find jobs for individuals, but we can let you know how to search for jobs, and we do all the job prep to get you set up for employment. And then above and beyond that, we refer to partner organizations if you're looking for job placement, job retention, and those kinds of things. A big thing for our population that we work with, a question that comes up often is disclosure. So disclosure, and I'll just do that because it was fun, is releasing personal information about yourself for a specific purpose. So when we're talking about the workplace, of course, this is somewhere that comes up that, oh my gosh, maybe I need to disclose because I want to work here, or they need to know, or I should tell them, or do they need to know? All kinds of questions come out about disclosure. So disclosure should be in terms of how, I got that backwards, how you are able to do the job. So sometimes you don't need to disclose. Sometimes you could or you couldn't, it depends, your comfort level and why you want to disclose, and sometimes it may become necessary to disclose. This is a big chart. It looks at the pros and cons of disclosure. As you can see, there are many pros as there are cons, and this list could even be bigger than this. We won't go through everything individually, just in the interest of time. But overall, the pros of disclosure would be, overall, the stress is off. Now they know. You've told somebody. You've set the expectations. You can get the accommodations you need to do to do your job well and to the best of your ability. You know, if your job changes down the road, you've already disclosed. If you need any further accommodations to do a different job, you can have that open discussion, and it can give individuals a real sense of the ability to self-advocate and to feel proud of the strengths they bring to a job and the accommodations they need just to create that equality for them to do the job as well as anyone else. Of course, the cons that a lot of people worry about are, you know, being singled out, how you feel about yourself, people, you know, being curious about you or why you're getting, you know, the special treatment, or it could be seen as being needy or needing special consideration. And all of that can really make you feel like I don't want anyone to know. Like I'm just going to power through and not worry about it unless I have to worry about it. So again, this is a conversation you should be having with anyone who's helping you to job seek, or you know, just someone you trust that you can kind of say, should I be disclosing? Do I need to disclose? And when we think about disclosure, there are different things to think about. You know, when to disclose. You know, and I won't go through everything here, again, in the interest of time, but for example, do you disclose during an application stage? You know, often the rule of thumb is no. You know, wait until you see if they're interested in you before you say anything. But sometimes disclosure during an application stage can be to your advantage, because the company or workplace may be looking actively to support and hire individuals with a disability, for example. So they're trying to fill a position with somebody who may need accommodations. They're not shying away from it. They want to actually support it. So that would be a case where you might want to think about that in your application. Your interview, again, if you have a visible disability that you're thinking, oh my gosh, you know, there's nowhere to hide. I just want to put this on the table. You can use it to your advantage and say, you may have seen me walk in here with a cane, but that in no way is going to impact the work I can do for you and what this job is about, and carry on with the interview. Or you may just want to present yourself. This is who I am, and worry about it at the job offer stage. They've decided that, you know, anything else they saw or heard was all good, and they're going to offer you the job now. So at the work stage, is it only when your disability becomes an issue that you disclose? There can be some risk in waiting that long. But on the other hand, maybe not. Like, again, every situation is so different, and it's worth a talk again with somebody you trust, or a counselor like a transitions counselor who can help you work through these issues and give you the best advice or guidance that they can. Then we think about how to disclose, who to disclose to. Is it to your manager? Is it to an HR specialist? Who do you talk to? Again, we've talked about why or why not to disclose, and what to disclose. You know, maybe you have a vision issue because of a brain tumor you had as a child, and maybe you disclose that you have a vision issue, but do you need to disclose why? No, you don't need to say, here's why I have a vision issue. So again, it's about knowing your rights, first of all, and what you're able to keep confidential, and what you might want to share. I just have a couple of slides left, so we're almost there. Workplace accommodations. Employees with disabilities are entitled to the same opportunities and benefits as people without disabilities. In some cases, they may need special arrangements or accommodations so they can do your job duties. So duty to accommodate falls under the principles of accommodations in the Ontario Human Rights Code, and includes respect for dignity, individualization, integration and participation, barrier-free design. Examples of workplace accommodations could be something like a chair for sitting if you're required to stand for long periods of time. An example might be a cashier. Large print format for instructions, meeting material, memos, short breaks throughout the day for strain, fatigue, stress, accommodation for medical appointments. Maybe you need every other Thursday afternoon off because you have a standing appointment or standing treatment or whatever that looks like. Just getting those accommodations built in so you're not sweating it out every time you need to schedule time off for an appointment or anything like that. And I was right, this is my last slide. So I just want to mention the ways to stay connected and informed through POGO are our Survivor to Survivor network. It is now a national program. It is virtual workshops that are developed and designed by survivors for survivors. So it's a closed group of survivors in the room. We do have a topic expert in the room that can speak to or can answer any questions. They have an affiliation to the topic being presented on. So it gives audience members greater access to somebody they may not necessarily have access to, like a psychologist or a social worker or an accommodation specialist. So those people are in the room to support the presentation and just to provide additional information. And POGO, of course, oversees and runs after-term, long-term care clinics at 5 tertiary centers in Ontario. And there are satellite clinics that also see patients. So if you are a survivor and are not connected with an aftercare clinic, these are lifetime long surveillance clinics for individuals to, and through these clinics, not only do you have access to the medical surveillance, but also to other opportunities in terms of other disciplines that are available at those clinics, be it, again, social worker, psychology, or art therapy, or any of those other healthcare disciplines. And on that note, I will stop talking and get to the exciting part of today's presentation after answering some questions, and that would be Stephanie coming up shortly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barb. Clapping for you. I need to start playing like a clapping track for our presenters because it's for the virtual world, right? That's such a great presentation. Thank you so much. That's great resources that POGO has. Does POGO have a list of other organizations in other provinces that offer similar services to you guys that we could share with our audience later, who might be from a different province or might be listening to the presentation later? Okay.
I can certainly get that together. We have partner organizations that we're just getting to know as we go national here, but in terms of our S2S networks, but I'm happy to share what I have. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. A couple of questions came through. The first one is, for those of us who are diagnosed as young adults, diagnosed ages between 18 and 38, and may already have completed a post-secondary program and an early or mid-career when diagnosed, if we need or want to return to school post-diagnosis, are there similar supports to those offered through POGO for our age range?
So unfortunately, there's nothing through POGO for that age range. This program specifically is for individuals diagnosed prior to age 18, so a pediatric diagnosis. And again, we do work with 16 and up, but the diagnosis has to have happened as a child. You know, the organization that comes to mind for that age group would be YAC, Youth Adult Cancer Canada, who people may be familiar with, but I can't speak to what resources they have for that specific specialty, but we don't offer that. And I can't, I have other counselors that I work with, and they may have something to offer, and I can certainly check in if this person wants to get in touch with us if they know of it.
Yeah, and we're also connected to Young Adults Cancer Canada. So maybe if Todd or Sarah is still on the line, maybe one of you can add the website to the chat section for everyone. That would be great. And then we can provide more details. That's great. Thank you. One more question, Barb. You might have kind of a similar answer to this, but how long is the waiting list for Ontario for a neuro assessment? Do you know? And then the second part of the question is, how much does it cost privately? If you are diagnosed as a young adult in your 20s or 30s and need this, what options exist to fund this assessment? I'm not sure if you would have answers to that.
I can kind of answer that. Yeah.
Great,
so the waiting list, depending on whether you're waiting at a hospital to get the assessment or not, the waiting lists all vary. So I can't speak specifically to each hospital.
Sure.
If you're an adult, adult centers can offer neuropsychological assessments at no cost again. It is typically by diagnosis. So a brain tumor diagnosis usually qualifies you if you're connected with an adult center. Now, I'm speaking my experiences with McMaster and with Princess Margaret. So there may be other answers from across Ontario anyways. Sure. If you're not eligible at a hospital for whatever reason, privately, I'm sure there's not too long a wait list. That would be my guess, but they do cost anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 is what I understand. Some people have healthcare coverage that could support this, whether it be through their parents or not, and many unfortunately do not, and that's kind of the bill for a private assessment.
Right.
Yeah, but you can shop around.
Yeah.
It is around $2,000, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, it's expensive. Really expensive. Just I'll give everybody another second. Does anybody else have any other questions for Barb before we switch over to Stephanie's presentation, personal story of hope? Once again, Barb, I really appreciate you taking the time to educate our community and to provide really great resources and information. You guys are doing great work at POGO, and yeah, thanks for the partnership opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I don't think there's any other questions right now, but if anything comes through by email, I will definitely touch base with you, Barb.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks, Barb. Are you staying on for Stephanie's presentation?
I'll just stop my video and I'll just watch in.
Perfect. Thank you.